Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Barrett, Social Sciences Librarian at the University of Rochester. Today I'm going to show you the differences between PubMed, PubMed Central, and Medline, as well as how to use a new interface for PubMed released earlier this year. First off, these databases are maintained by the National Library of Medicine, or NLM, which is part of the National Institutes of Health. Related databases are maintained by another member of NLM, the National Center for Biotechnical Information, or NCBI. Medline is the core database of biomedical and life sciences citations and abstracts. Under its first name, Medlars, it was the first large-scale computerized and searchable database. PubMed actually contains everything in Medline, in addition to records before 1951, as well as the most recent published literature not in Medline yet. PubMed also indexes books available full text and other subsets of NLM records. PubMed Central has much of the same information as PubMed. The main difference is that PMC is a free digital repository that archives open access and full text scholarly articles. Oftentimes when someone gets a grant from the NIH, or NSF, this research needs to be made publicly available, and indexing in PMC is one of those ways to reach that requirement. And then there's Medline Plus, which is a website for consumer health. This is where we steer all public or non-researchers for trustworthy health information. Hopefully, this clears up the difference between the databases offered through the National Library of Medicine. Generally, I'd recommend using PubMed, which is what I'm going to show you next. There are several ways to get to the PubMed website. The first one I'm going to show you is through our library website, library.rochester.edu. And to get to PubMed, all I need to do is just simply enter in PubMed in the main search box. You can see under Database Recommendations, this is the first one that comes up. Please be aware that even though this says PubMed Central, this will actually go to pubmed.gov, which is the website that we do want. Another way that we can access the site is through the Public Health Subject Guide. So if you scroll down a little bit on the main page, you'll see that there is a link to PubMed. Now, if the site you come across looks like this, please be aware that this is actually PubMed Central. And as we discussed earlier, this is going to have a lot less information than regular PubMed. All right, so to start out a search in PubMed, you have two options. So you could just enter in a search into the main search box, or you can go into advanced search. And that is what I am going to try here. So say the topic that I am going to try out first has to do with addiction recovery among Latinos. So I want to think about the main kind of like ideas or concepts that are going to be in that search and kind of group them together. Addiction recovery is going to be one. And I'm going to add that into my query box. And then Latinos is going to be the second main kind of idea or term that I'm searching for. And you can see this is turned into the word and. That is exactly what I want. So you can see in the query box now it has formed a search strategy for me. I didn't have to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and see what results I get. All right, so I have 26 results, and I can see here that they are sorted by best match. Generally, this is probably the way that you want to look at your results, but if you want to change it, you can. You can change the way it sorts by most recent or by publication date or additional options as well. So most recent publication dates sound the same, but there can be updates or edits to papers, and those most recent dates will be listed here rather than the original publication date. So that's what the difference is between these two. All right. So I have 26 results. As I scroll down a little bit, I might want to take a look at what filters I can access here on the left side. So usually the first one that I do is kind of move the publication date over. Usually for biomedical literature, usually like the last 3 to 5 years is what you want to look at, unless you are searching something on the history of a disease, say. So as I scroll down more, I'm not going to worry about text availability, because even if we don't have full text access, we can get full text access because the University of Rochester does have the interlibrary loan service. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. I can look at the article type. So if I want to really zero in on the type of literature I'm looking at, I could always choose one of these. And then here's a quick one-click option for a publication date, but I've already changed that, so that is fine by me. There are additional filters that you can look at. For this search, like narrowing these down further isn't really necessary because we only have 26 results. But if you said, say you said you had like thousands of results, then maybe you want to take a look at what these filtering options are and see what you can do with them. All right. So as I am looking at my results, I'm going to click into the first one. And I can see here what my access options are. Right now it's telling me that I can find the full text at the University of Rochester. I'm going to click on that and show you what that looks like. So I am off campus right now, and I am also not VPN'd in. So I have the feeling that a lot of you who are off campus don't regularly VPN in. So just be aware that when you get to this screen, pay attention to everything that's highlighted in yellow. It's going to tell you what you need to do. And this right now is telling me that I need to access my account. And now I'm seeing that I actually can't access this article full text, but I can order it through interlibrary loan. And to do that, I would order it from interlibrary loan River Campus Libraries. And then I'd have to go through a kind of sign-in process again, especially if I've never created an interlibrary loan account. But the way that works is interlibrary loan is usually very quick for journal articles. Maybe about 24 hours, maybe longer given, which day it is or how busy ILL is at that time. But then you get notified by email that the paper or chapter is available for download. So I'm going to go back to my results. Some other things I want to point out on this page is that you can also get access to the citation. So here is the full citation. You can download an NBIB file, and this is used for reference managers such as EndNote or Zotero. And then you can even change the format. So, if you want to use APA, then you could just copy and paste it. If you ever need to use AMA or JAMA, I highly recommend that you use a reference manager such as EndNote or Zotero, because it's very difficult to manually create your citations when they're numerical. Right. If I wanted to, I could add this to my favorites. And if I wanted to do that, I would have to create one of these accounts, which I am not going to do at this moment. You could also share the citation. Say if there's an article that you want to share in class, this could be one of the ways that you do that. So it's just nice because it gives you a permalink to that article that will kind of always work. Scroll down a little bit more. So obviously this is the abstract. There's going to be specific keywords that they're going to be using for this. And probably one of the most important and most helpful things that works extremely well in PubMed is these similar articles that will pop up. So this is a good, easy way to find additional articles that might be useful for you because they're already based on something that you found useful. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. There's also cited by. So if the article was published more than a couple years ago, there might be people who are citing that in their newest research. So this article was published, fairly recently, 2019, and they cite this article that we're looking at. As I scroll down a little bit more, you can see that there's a lot more information that we could look at. Mesh terms, once again, if you ever want to learn more about that, you can contact me directly, and we can talk about medical subject headings. So if I am using a reference manager and I want to download articles or references to that, it's very easy to do. I could do one at a time, like in the screen that I just showed you, but I can also do more than one at a time. So say there are these 3 items that I want to save to a reference manager. I can just choose Send To, and I'm going to choose Citation Manager. I'm going to create a file. Okay, it's going to download a file. I'm just going to save that. It doesn't matter where I download it to. Open that up. So I have EndNote installed on my computer, and these are my 3 references. Pretty cool.